Sweet the whispers in your ear whenever Ember wanders near.
Somebody mentioned this to me in the comments section of one of my videos that I posted today regarding Collective Shout. Now, I don't know if this is Collective Shout or not. This is the National Center on Sexual Exploitation that Savvy's talking about, and apparently they used like false AI hallucinated like evidence in a court thing. Probably trying to enact censorship is what I would guess. So, like, this is like, I don't know if I'm gonna be like react to this, so to speak, but this could be interesting. So we can like, we've got like 20 minutes, so I'll just play this through and we'll see what Savvy's cooked up.
NCOS has been caught lying, and in other news, water is wet. But seriously, NCOS has been caught lying in court with their AI lawyer generating up some fake stories to use in a bid to get their way and shame some poor company. But first, let me bombard you with some facts. NCOS likes to present itself as a group of graying women and loser men who care about children and women, and want to stop immoral bullshit from influencing the... Oh, wait,
Yes.
Sorry. That was the old branding. NCOS doesn't care about morality anymore. They rebranded from Morality in Media to the National Center of Sexual Exploitation. They aren't really a center, though, like you might be thinking or picturing. No agents are ready to break down the doors. No halls full of expert psychologists helping past victims through
It's
trauma.
probably just a bunch of wine moms.
The National Center of Sexual Exploitation actually does is fire off emails and attempt to bully companies into stopping selling certain products, stopping women from being an advertisement, and, on the weekend, love insinuating people are pedophiles for using Grok's Annie. Yes, they tried to set up a petition and claim Annie is child abuse material. And guess what? A British MP took that as gospel. Ooh.
Because, of course, a British MP would take this as gospel. Because, of course, it's fucking United Rapistan. It's like, these are a bunch of fucking idiot wine moms that hate the fact that they're ugly bitches. They don't like seeing hot women in advertisements because it reminds them that they're ugly bitches, and so they say we can't allow that, so we're gonna claim it's exploitation.
We are truly run by the clowns in this
And
circus.
male feminists, yes.
The National Center of Sexual Exploitation has also had or has a chairman named Ron DeHaas, who was scrubbed from their website, except for one little bit. But he was the one who created the bully concept of the Bully Dirty Dozen list, a list put out every year shaming random companies for things they aren't really doing. What's interesting about Ron DeHaas, however, is that he had to bail his pedophile son out of pedophile jail for doing pedophilic things, so that way he can be a pedophile at home and wait for his pedophilia trial. Wow! Crazy how NCOS, the National Center of Sexual Exploitation, doesn't comment on their current or previous chairman who created their Dirty Dozen list. Wow. Their own staffer has also deleted personal condemnations of child abuse film labeled cuties after I called her out directly. I said, Haley, how can you work with Collective Shout, who champions the child abuse film and says real little girls must twerk like trashy adults at the club in order to tell people that pageant life is bad? You don't understand, I guess. 500 little girls had to be filmed during auditions and told to dance in a manner that is only befitting for adults.
Yeah, by the way, that's for those of you that are unfamiliar with the film Cuties. First of all, God bless you that your brain has not been tarnished by this. Cuties was a film made by a Frenchman, put out on Netflix, that basically severely sexualized like 11 and I think there were like 11 or 12-year-old girls that basically had like in France. It was like 5 girls. They were like 11 or 12 years old that basically become like professional twerkers, and they basically do twerking and booty dances and do all sorts of crazy shit. Like one girl, the head girl, who she's a Muslim, by the way, to basically it was like get back at I can't remember what they said to read. It was like to get back at her like stepfather or something like this. Some like really insane thing is she literally takes her, I think it's her stepfather's phone, takes a picture of her genitals, and tells the father that if he doesn't like leave or something, she's gonna give the phone to the cops and say that he took that dirty picture of her. And in the meantime, like these girls are doing incredibly sexualized dances, and it was her dad getting a second wife. Yeah, something. Whatever it was fucked. And then in the meantime, her and 4 other girls are like doing like sexual twerking dances for like a competition. And yes, they auditioned like 200 fucking 11 or 12-year-old girls, all of whom had to do these sexy twerk-style dances that completely sexualized themselves when they were children. And this was hailed on Netflix as being a wondrous film. And anybody who dare call it out for being basically being child porn, which it was said, "Oh, you don't understand." And these people were amongst the ones that were championing cuties, saying, "Oh, it's an empowering film for young girls," while absolutely sexualizing them in the worst ways imaginable. That's who these people are. These are people that applaud and champion movies like Cuties.
Had to happen to protect the kids. At least that's assuming what she means, I suppose, because that's certainly what Collective Shout means based off of their own replies to me last year or a year ago, whenever it was.
Did SJR people call them now? I don't care what SJR people called them. They're pedophiles, and that's all they'll ever be. The minute someone tries to do a soft language acronym for it or descriptor of it, I will immediately tell those people, fuck off, you're a child predator, you're a pedophile, you should be imprisoned for the rest of your natural life and never breathe free air ever again.
Whatever the timestamp is on the picture, because they couldn't shut up about it for quite a while. Well, Haley responded by deleting the old tweet condemning the film. When I asked their VP about it, she blocked me after saying she would look into it. This was all just a small little bit of history, so that way you can see their patterns of behavior. Now on to the new thing that they did. NCOS lawyers got caught citing fake cases.
Thank you, Health
Their corrected
Saver.
brief has more fake cases. This was released on June 30th, 2026. The folks at the National Center on Sexual Exploitation have spent decades demonizing technology and speech they don't understand, so it seems particularly ironic that they're now getting bench slapped for allowing AI hallucinated citations in legal filings.
See, I have my opinion. If you present AI citations to a court, you should be locked up. You should immediately be locked up for 3 to 5 years. If you are going to go in front of a court of law and present findings produced by AI that are resulting in complete hallucinations, where the AI hallucinated them or made them up, you should immediately be put in prison. 3 to 5 years. If you're a lawyer that presents them, you are disbarred, never allowed to practice law again. Like this cannot be allowed. No wrist slapping, no finger wagging, no, you did a naughty thing. No, prison. Throw them in prison. If you're a lawyer, you are barred from ever practicing law in any country ever again. You need to. We are at the stage with stuff like this. You need to go at these people hard. You can show these people no mercy, because if you show them mercy, it's like any other criminal. If they can get away with it, they'll keep doing it over and over again. So whoever presented an AI hallucinated citation to the court, prison. Judged immediately, okay, 3 to 5 years, guilty, lock him up. Put him in the box.
When they named themselves NCOS and started focusing on the internet, including the laughably false claim that any porn is a health issue, and now that's a national security issue. They jumped on the anti-encryption and anti-Section 230 bandwagons.
Thank you,
and
Internet
politicians,
Master.
including many Democratic ones who should
Thank
have
you for
known
the
better,
10.
quickly embraced the group under the false pretense that they were interested in ending sexual exploitation rather than locking down the internet and blocking any speech that acknowledges LGBTQ plus people. Suffice it to say, the group is far-right, anti-sex, anti-speech, and anti-internet, and it's ridiculous that any politician supports them.
Yeah, it's like this is insane. Like, this is where we talk about the far left plenty. This is where it's like the far right is just as fucking insane. You want dumpstering on the far right? Here you fucking go. These people are fucking schizo and are like should not be taken seriously and need to be investigated. They absolutely, like, this group needs to be fucking investigated, because if their former head, his son, was a pedophile, how many more people involved in this group are also pedophiles? Like, full investigations on any of them. On any and all of them.
Speech and anti-internet, and it's ridiculous that any politician supports them. This is because they have people who have been in DC for a very long time. Unfortunately, as much as this person wants to label them as far right, which they are, it's actually the left who, for the last decade, has given them power and thought. But now we can add to the list that their lawyers apparently can't make it through a filing without fabricating citations, and then doubling down when caught. This came out of a convoluted case in which NCOS, the National Center on Sexual Exploitation lawyers, sued some Nevada brothels for supposedly exploiting women who chose to work there. It is possible that something bad has happened in those places, but NCOS, the National Center on Sexual Exploitation, apparently did themselves no favors by hiring a local lawyer whose AI-assisted work they were supposed to review. They didn't. Even worse, when the other side called out the hallucinated citations, the National Center on Sexual Exploitation lawyers tried to attack the defendant and play down the hallucinations. In a filing with more hallucinated citations, let's have Judge Andrew Jordan explain the basics. Her briefs contained AI hallucinations.
I'm sorry, my head just went to a very different place. Her briefs contained AI hallucinations. Maybe you should go see a doctor about that, honey. I'm sorry. I had to. The joke was right there. You cannot serve a joke like that up to me on a silver fucking platter and not expect me to say something. If your briefs contain AI hallucinations, you might need to see a doctor. Call yours today.
Despite Bistro pointing out these errors in its opposition, JD2 did not withdraw or correct her motion, and her reply brief also contained misquotes. Bistro then filed a notice identifying the reply's misquotes. About a month later, JD2 filed multiple errata, an amendment motion for reconsideration, and an amended reply that purported to correct these errors, but the amended motion still contained AI hallucinations.
Prison. Judge should have locked her up. 3 fucking times this lawyer had a chance to set the record correctly and actually do the work. And 3 times this lawyer just said, fuck it, I'll let the AI do it, when it's been hallucinating over and over again. Sorry, fucking prison. Like, that is the biggest contempt of court, that you as a lawyer are not even going to do your job. Let AI do everything. AI is going to hallucinate, because guess what? What if the judge wasn't? What if the people involved didn't have the cognitive awareness to actually look at it and go, yeah, that's fake. That's a hallucination, and it actually got passed as law. Because don't forget, like, if whatever case they're working on is something new, then that would any case that passes through the court and an argument is accepted by the judge is what's called precedence. So if all of these AI hallucinations were accepted by the courts, then any future case that came through the court system of a similar nature could cite this particular trial or case or legal case as precedent to allow their bullshit to go through too. So when you have a lawyer presenting AI hallucinations that could potentially set precedents in court, fucking prison. Put this person in fucking prison. Because then if you do that, maybe the next lawyer that thinks maybe I'll use AI to create my legal briefs and not actually check it might actually think twice about doing that because they don't want to go into the cold box. At this point, you have to go at these people hard. Because otherwise, if you don't, they will keep doing it again and again and again. If they receive no punishment, they'll continue to commit the crime.
The order also suggests that the National Center on Sexual Exploitation and the local lawyer they hired engaged in an awful lot of finger pointing and blame passing rather than, doing actual lawyering. And thus the defendants win their motion for sanctions, striking the falsified filings from the document and denying the original request to reconsider an earlier ruling dismissing the National Center on Sexual Exploitation's exaggerated claims. The court notes that while it was a local lawyer who used AI and eventually admitted to doing so, the real problem is with the National Center on Sexual Exploitation's lawyers. I have read Guinasso's affidavit about the serious life events he was experiencing during the time frame of these violations, and I am sorry for his losses and strain that he must have been put under. But as he acknowledges, that does not excuse the over-reliance on artificial intelligence without a human sight checking the papers. I credit him for accepting responsibility.
No, there should be no credit for accepting responsibility because you were given 3 chances. You didn't accept responsibility, and this person did not accept responsibility until they were literally backed into a fucking corner with no way out. When there was three times they submitted AI and defended it. And then when they got backed into a corner, then they finally went, okay, I did it, I'm sorry. You absolutely 0 fucking credit should be given whatsoever. And they should be put in the fucking box.
And implementing procedures that hopefully preclude repeating this incident. Although JD2's motion and Guinasso's declaration request that any sanctions fall solely on Guinasso, I don't know how to say the name, I'm sorry, that is not appropriate here. There were 6 National Center of Sexual Exploitation attorneys. They had 6 individuals on the case at the time. Additionally, the evidence before me shows that the National Center on Sexual Exploitation attorneys had some responsibility for site checking. Yes. Although the errors may have begun with Guinasso, both Guinasso and Hirsch stated that the National Center on Sexual Exploitation attorneys were supposed to double check his citations.
Then lock them all up. If they were all in this together and they should have been double checking on their shit, put them in the box. Every one of them, 3 to 5 years minimum. Put them in the box. Then maybe the next jack off that thinks it's a wise idea to use AI for a legal brief and not even look at it and double check it, maybe they'll think twice or maybe not use AI at all. Oh, I also said disbar that. Every single one of them should have their legal licenses stripped. They should never be allowed to practice law ever again in any capacity, and put them in the box.
So the lawyers needed lawyers to check the citations because one lawyer can't lawyer, but then the next set of lawyers don't actually care. So nothing positive happened, and then they got the case, I guess, thrown out. I don't know, but this is so stupid. It's just tragic. So in the end, the judge orders the plaintiff's lawyers at the National Center of Sexual Exploitation and the local counsel, Guinasso, to pay the defendant's legal fees. How stupid are you? And how much do you not care that you're not putting forth the best lawyers and that you're not checking their work? Even as somebody who is not a lawyer and who wouldn't be checking their lawyer's work out of fear the lawyer's doing something wrong, I would still want to.
It's not falsifying of evidence. I wish it was. This is not the most that they could be cited. The most they probably could be hit for is contempt of court, which the judge should have done. The judge should have absolutely bitch slapped them with contempt of court. But this is not falsifying evidence. It's basically presenting a hallucinated legal brief that doesn't actually exist. So different crimes. It is a criminal crime. It should hold the same weight as falsifying evidence. Agree. absolutely agree. But it at present, the way the legal system is laid out, is it doesn't have the same weight. It should, but it doesn't. And the judge did have the opportunity to slap them with contempt of court and lock them up for a time. I wish the judge had. But we actually need a judge that actually gives a fuck about the law to do that.
Be part of every step of the process, and I would be trying to understand what is happening and what arguments are being made. Even if I was being represented completely out of state and never met my lawyer for whatever reason, I would still be trying to communicate with them regularly to figure out what's going on. How much do you not care about things that you're letting this happen, and worse, after you've been told, letting them double down? Like, this is just wild. NCOAS does not care about anything. They just want their access and they want their power trip. For what it's worth, the National Center on Sexual Exploitation lawyers apparently also tried to argue that the defendant's legal fees were its own fault for not filing for sanctions earlier, and the court is rightly having none of it. I rejected JD2's argument that Bistro's fees are at its own fault for not filing a Rule 11 motion. Bistro did not originally seek sanctions and instead was content to point out the errors in its response brief and let the original motion for reconsideration play out on the papers. It was JD2's counsel who did not read the opposition brief that pointed out the errors. This isn't the writer commenting on this. This is the actual legal quote. This is how much the National Center on Sexual Exploitation does not care. They just want to sit in their air-conditioned rooms, receive money for no reason, and then be congratulated for nothing. This is embarrassing. They want to pat
themselves on the back. And the judge may have roasted them. The judge should have roasted them into a prison cell. I'm not backing down on this. The judge should have locked them the fuck up and set a precedent that if you go in front of the judge and give a judge false AI-generated legal briefs, you go to fucking prison. Because then that will stop lawyers from doing the stupid thing of just letting AI do their jobs for them and them just being a fucking meat bag delivery service.
And worse, they demand that companies bend to their will. These people work with Collective Shout, an Australian censor group that went to Visa, MasterCard, and other payment processors to bully Steam when Steam didn't respond. And sadly, Steam bent the knee to that. They also managed to muck up other things, and they've gotten GTA 5 pulled from a local store back at release. Yeah. Senator Richard Blumenthal has treated NCOAS as a credible voice at COSA hearings for years, despite ample evidence that the group cares far more about restricting speech than protecting anyone from exploitation. Blumenthal...
I've said this before about, like, with Collective Shout, that they're all about, we can't have, like, sexy women in advertisements and video games, but they are dead fucking silent about actual child trafficking. They, like, instead of like putting their efforts to basically go after people about, instead of going after people that, saying like, hey, why aren't the cops going after the actual child exploitation people, actual child predators, actual like people that will like beat the fuck out of sex workers, actual people that do human trafficking? No, they're gonna go after the safe ones and go after like the media companies that are just doing advertisements to like with sexy women to promote their products and say, oh, this is putting out a bad image for young girls. It's giving young girls a complex because you have sexy women in your advertisements. And so they don't actually care about real victims. That's what it boils down to in a nutshell. The National Center of Sexually Exploitation, I'll use Savvy Singh, doesn't give a shit about actual victims.
Also likes to take the ADL at face value. Now there's a federal judge's order explaining in patient detail that NCOAS's lawyers fabricated citations, double down when caught, and file corrected briefings that still contained fabrications. The fake cases are still in the record. The organization still hasn't withdrawn from them. And yet, this is who Blumenthal thinks you should trust in helping set internet policy for hundreds of millions of Americans.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Mike Masnick, I hope I'm saying this right, for taking the time to write this
thrown him in prison
and read this, and not only read it and write it, but share all of this as well. This is the full details of the case. You can view it yourself at techdirt.com. This is wonderful and should follow them everywhere. This should be sent to every politician who gives them a voice, because they shouldn't have a voice.
There should be phone calls to the state in which these lawyers practice law to have them disbarred permanently, not allowed to practice law in any state ever again. That's what needs to happen. Whatever state that these lawyers practice law in, all 7 of them, we need to contact the state bar association and tell them these people need to be disbarred because they have violated the law and they should not be allowed to practice any further.
They should be absolutely beat down verbally back into where they belong, the shadows, because they don't understand technology. They don't care about technology.
They should have
don't care about any sort
legal
of
licenses
sexual
stripped
exploitation.
completely.
They just want their money. And somehow all of these people can afford to live in DC, but they can't afford a lawyer who doesn't use AI. This is so pathetic, man. It's so absolutely pathetic.
It is.
But I'm not shocked. These are their tactics, and this is the same thing we see at smaller scale for not lawyers or politicians, but for people on the internet who claim to hate AI. It's the same thing constantly. They don't want you to use it, but they're going to.
Exactly.
The next time
Exactly.
you see me quote tweeting NCOS, because that's the only time anybody sees NCOS, because I am the reason they get social media views, make sure you tell them. Make sure you tell them that you don't appreciate them lying in court. Politely, of course. Tell them politely. Anyway, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you, Savvy. So, like, God bless her. She does work. Savvy, god damn, does she do work. And I love it. We have not checked out any Savvy stuff for a while. I'm glad I saw that. I'm glad somebody in my comments section let me know about it, because I looked for it and I hadn't been able to find anything about it. And then this video popped up in my feed and I was like, oh, thank God. Now I can see what this is talking about. And I'm glad we got to see it. Yeah, Savvy is absolutely the GOAT. She is.
Bye-bye.